Think if Thomas Jefferson was here tonight, he'd think we were on the road to a theocracy?
I don't know. If Thomas Jefferson were here tonight, could you just imagine what Thomas Jefferson would be doing if he were here tonight? I don't know. Let me tell you why. I have a difficulty with the idea, what I call constitutional fundamentalism, that in order to live our lives as Americans constitutionally, we have to get inside the precise heads of the founding fathers. Democracies, the Constitution, the Bible, are living, growing documents that need to be interpreted again and again, over and over. Wow. They change across time. So I want to deflect from the Jefferson question and just read you one quote. Preachers are not called to be politicians, but to be soul winners. I feel that we need to get off the streets and back into the pulpits and into the prayer rooms. That's a quote from Jerry Falwell circa 1964. The reason why I invoke that quote today is what is fascinating to me about Christianity is there is a clear apolitical, quietist strain in the Christian scriptures, which my two distinguished interlocutors know far better than I. I often wonder why evangelical Christians don't hark back to that.
Well, because evangelical Christians act in the tradition of Christians, as I wrote in the book called The Faith, from the beginning of time, when Christians have been engaged in this since the first century. The first campaign against slavery was actually in the 3rd century. The first time that Christians got involved in the affairs of the Roman Empire was in the 3rd century. Christian popes, Catholic popes, excommunicated slave owners when the Spanish conquerors came to this continent. There's been a long history of political activism, and it's capped actually by Martin Luther King. The words from the Birmingham Street Jail are the most eloquent statement of natural law and biblical law affecting public policy. But I think just to come back to this year's campaign, because it's a very important question, Senator McCain has not spoken about his faith, and the other candidates on the other side have. So the idea that this is the big, bad religious right when Hillary Clinton and Obama are talking about their faith, and Obama the other night said on television, "I pray to Jesus." When he said it, I was thrilled to hear it, but it didn't make me more or less likely to vote for him. If anybody's outspoken about political movements this year, there's no moral majority, there's no Christian coalition, there's no longer an organized movement. It's a sign that Christianity in the conservative movement is growing up. I wrote a book called Kingdoms in Conflict Now, God and Government, saying we should never be involved in partisan politics, as partisan politics. But the fact of the matter is that the most partisan speeches this year are being given by someone, Jim Wallace, who's considered to be the far evangelical left social gospel, who is saying you must align with the Democratic Party in order to bring justice to America.
Well,
I wouldn't say that about the Republican Party.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons I think Jim Wallace, I would only give him at most credit for being the right wing of the religious left, such as it is, because I think on women's rights issues, on other issues, the man would be perfectly comfortable in the old religious right. Listen, the religious right is not dead. A lot of people in this country kind of wish it were. They whistle past the graveyard while the zombies are crawling right over the fence, Chuck. This is a group of 18 to 20% of the American people who, by the way, gave a victory to Governor Mike Huckabee, the most overtly religious preacher to run for office.
But is it wrong for them to vote for him because he happens to be religious?
No, but what is foolish, I think, and dangerous for people who are more progressive than he on issues is to think that the religious right doesn't exist because some books have been written. Well, I wrote a book, too, Piety and Politics. You guys are promoting books. And I got another one coming out with my friend Welton Gaddy called First Freedom First in April. I'll send you both of them.